Hey everybody, it's Charlie with 4bztruth. Just wanted to do a follow-up part two. And my part one was just talking about the four horsemen of the apocalypse. Just kind of my version of the interpretation. After speaking with Robert Ferrell of Apocryphile1970, I wanted to point out a few things that I believe are important that were just the peripheral or the initial face value, and then tie it into the symbolic, and then tie it into our application in our reality. There's a life application here, and I wanted to address that as well. Now, I wanted to start with going back just a little bit, talking about who was worthy to open the seals, and and then basically reveal what was inside the seals that are a secret, I guess. And so it says the Lamb is worthy, starting with chapter 5, verse 5. And one of the elders came, or saith unto me, Weep not, behold, the Lion of the tribe of Judah and the Root of David. Now, I guess John was weeping because nobody was worthy to open the seals, and hath prevailed to open the book and to loose the seven seals thereof. And I beheld, and lo, in the midst of the throne and the four beasts, in the midst of the elders, stood a lamb, and it had been slain, having 7 horns and 7 eyes, which are the 7 spirits of God sent forth into all the earth. And all these numbers have symbolic meaning as well. Like the 7 lampstands or candlesticks that were described in the churches, each having a candlestick. There's a meaning to 7 as well, but I'm not going to get into that right now. Um, let's see, having 7 horns and 7. Okay, so the Spirit of God sent forth into all the earth, and he came and took the book out of the right hand of him who sat upon the throne. And when he had taken the book, the four beasts and the 4 and 20 elders fell down before the Lamb, having every one of them harps and golden vials full of odors, which were the prayers of the saints. And they sung a new song, saying, Thou art worthy to take the book and to open the seals thereof. For thou was slain and had redeemed us from to God by the blood of every kindred and tongue and people and nation, and hast made us into God kings and priests, and we shall reign on the earth. Anyways, uh, moving on, and I beheld. And I heard the voice of many angels around the throne and the beast and the elders, and the numbers of them was 10,000 times 10,000 and 10,000s of 10,000s, um, saying with a loud voice, Worthy is the Lamb that was slain to receive power and riches and wisdom and strength and honor and glory and blessing. And every creature which is in heaven and on the earth and under the earth, and such as are in the sea, and all that are in them. Heard it saying, Blessing and honor and glory and power be unto him who sitteth on the throne, and unto the Lamb forever and ever. And the four beasts said, Amen. And the 24 elders um, fell down and worshipped. Okay, so moving on to 6. Let me just flip over here. So I don't know if that really establishes the context very well, but it really is just showing that the Lamb was worthy to open the seals. Okay, so I saw the Lamb, this is chapter 6, open one of the seals, and I heard, as it were, a noise of thunder, one of the beasts saying, Come and let us see, or come and see. And I saw, and behold, a white horse, and he sat on him, and he that sat on him had a bow and a crown that was given unto him, and he went forth conquering and to conquer. Okay, so this is the white horse riding around with a bow, and he was given a crown. Now, one of the questions I brought up when we were going through this with Robert is who gave the power or the authority or the crown to conquer? So, one of the things that I thought about before, as far as a crown, which interestingly, there's if you actually look at it like our government is given a crown or a power to rule. And I'm going to say that right now, the power is given by God. And however you might define that, but God is the source of everything, and the power that therein, I guess. And so you have, this power that was given to the rider on the horse. Uh, and they had a bow and a crown, and they went forth to conquer. Now, if you contrast the way things are now, you have, you know, I'm going to say right now that I feel like conquest has been a thing of the past. The church might have, gone out to just, conquer, and now you can see that with all kinds of different, you know, cultures or kingdoms. Babylon, the Medo-Persians, even the early Christian church, or even the mid level, like as far as the Catholic, uh, uh, you know, conquest. Now you might say the same thing about the Muslims. They went out and tried to conquer the world. Now, if you actually look, and I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I believe that now we, in the United States, you might say, have gone out and conquered. And, I think that there's an agenda behind all that is malevolent. It's actually something that I believe is not established by God, other than the power was given to this country to rule the world, I guess. Now, so moving on to the next horse, and when he had opened the second seal, I heard a second beast say, "Come and see." And there went out another horse that was red, and the power was given to him that sat therein or thereon to take peace from the earth, and they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword. Now, Robert also pointed out that the sword is often, well, it's double-edged. Now, it could be that, you know, maybe that's not what it's pointing out, but uh, the the fact that there would be power given to basically have people kill one another, and now one of the reasons why I feel like not only is this something that could have been considered the past, but it could align with something that's currently now. And we went out and conquered the world. And I'm not going to say we as in the United States. I'm saying we as in, the powers of the world, the ones that were given authority over the world. And now they basically, um, set out to conquer the world. So, and now we've gotten to a point where um, the people are killing one another. Maybe not so much yet. There is some in the world that are killing. Maybe not so much in the quote unquote first world countries, but a lot of the third world countries are killing each other, and taking peace from the earth. Now, I don't necessarily think that we are currently there yet, but you can see early signs of this happening. And again, I feel like the four horsemen are something where you might see these things happen simultaneously to some degree, or even though the seals happen like one, two, three, four, the four horsemen like in sequence like that. I also think that maybe these things could happen simultaneously at the same time. Now, if so, that's the second seal talking about. Let's see. Let's see. Another horse. It was red. So you got a white horse, a red horse, and I've actually heard. If you actually look at the symbology of the nations, you can see like there's a representation of like by an animal or flag or something like that. If you look at the white, uh, I don't really know what like white in some ways to me is like masquerading as a purity, or and again, I'm not like a Bible scholar in any way, but I often think about like white actually means pure, right? But if you're conquering in a way that is pure, like it's almost like you're masquerading or you're hiding the true nature, it might come across as it being white or pure in nature. So I wanted to point that out. And then the other thing is red is often linked to communism. Now, communism is something you will see in like China, Russia, and if you look at their flags, both of them have red. And I think that red is a color to represent, um, the communistic approach, and which is interesting because if you look, the Hegelian dialectic says, problem, reaction, solution, and if you're taking peace from the earth and causing people to kill each other, that goes right along with the New World Order that's happening right now as we speak. They're trying to turn people, against each other, and you know, anyways. So as for the third horse, and this is verse 5. And when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, "Come and see." And I beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, "A measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and thou hurt not the oil and the wine." I'll tell you what this means to me. I mean, it says right in the little subtitle there, it says the third seal, famine. Uh, Now, I posted a video about the farmers being forced to slaughter their food animals that they don't have. So this whole C-19 thing, um, and again, by the way, the word corona means crown. So if that is a power that was given, which is a crown, it's just interesting, like the words and symbology of the words. But you always have to filter everything through symbolic meaning. A lot of people don't understand the symbolism behind even what our country's doing. There's a lot of symbols behind what they're doing as well. And I just want to point out, don't forget about the symbols behind our not just our countries per se, but the world order that they're trying. There's a lot of symbols that they're putting out. They have hidden symbols in movies. They have hidden symbols in the media. Just always be mindful of that because it's important. Now, this black horse, this is the one that is actually, I feel like this is more so pertaining to now than anything, because if you can see, what this virus has done to, stop the economy, have a bunch of these farmers kill off their crops and their cattle and their chickens and all that. I feel like, and then like the milk trucks are dumping a bunch of milk in the ground. I mean, there's so much stuff going to waste right now because they can't process it due to the middleman being down for the virus or whatever. So I'm just going to tell you right now, the freaking black horse is a representation of famine. Obviously, famine has been going on for ages, but it hasn't ever happened worldwide on the measure or the level that it is right now. And just keep watch, because I know that they're kind of playing it down in the media, but I actually really feel this is something that is, even if all this stuff was a test run to see, what would happen as far as the, how the people would react, like it was a test drive. But Bill Gates is very clear that this is going to be, pandemic one, and, get ready for pandemic two, which my wife and I are kind of freaking out because, come October, our baby's due, and what's going to happen when they say that I can't go and help my wife have her baby in the hospital, or they're going to take the baby away to prevent the baby from getting, the virus or whatever. I honestly think they were trying to, prepare the masses for what could happen, and kind of test drive to see what would happen, and measure the cooperation of the people. I think it's going to get worse if they roll out Pandemic 2. I'm just saying. So, anyways, so so that was the black horse. People are going to obviously deal with famine, and we're not going to be able to. I don't think people are preparing uh, to the measure that we should. But anyways, and then so this kind of leads into the fourth horseman, and he had opened the fourth seal, and I heard the voice of the fourth beast saying, "Come and see." And I looked, and behold a pale horse, which also means green or chloros, and his name that sat on it was Death, and and hell followed with him, and power was given unto him over the fourth part of the earth, to kill with the sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth. Now, I'm just going to say right now that we're not completely there yet, but if it's talking about killing the fourth part of the earth, if you look at the Georgia Guidestones, they're really trending toward, this New World Order is wanting to depopulate to 500 million, which is obviously a lot more than a fourth of the earth. But I don't think that people are going to just, bend over and just, die so that, the New World Order is going to come into fruition. I don't think that. I want to talk to you about. I'm going to actually cut this video off at the end of the Four Horsemen, and then I'm going to actually, on the next video series, I'm going to, part three, I'm going to get into the beasts, as not necessarily the beasts that are, in heaven surrounding the throne, but I'm talking about the beast in Revelation chapter 12, when it talks about the dragon and the seven-headed beast with 10 horns. I want to go into that a little bit to kind of contrast how we are, the seals relate to that. And I believe that the description of what was happening in that Revelation chapter 12 was a cause I almost said cosmetic cause it was an alignment, a stellar alignment that was or basically predicted, as far as, I think Jupiter lining up with, you know, uh, it had something to do with astrology, And honestly, I want to do a little research before I get into that video, just so I can, present it well. But I think that there's something to the astrology side of it, because there is Babylonian astrology, and that goes back to Daniel. And Daniel dealt with a lot of astronomers or astrologers or whatever you call it, but they studied the stars, and I believe that that's how they honed in on the birth of Jesus as the star of Bethlehem or whatever. I think that is something that we're going to look into. But anyways, so yeah, this pale horse, and his name was Death, and hell followed after. And the power was given into him to kill the fourth part of the earth with a sword, and with hunger and death. So obviously, um, I believe that this is the sequence of events that's going to take place. And I believe we're actually really, like, we're literally on top of this situation, and it's unfolding before our eyes. And I want people to realize that that's what's happening. And I hope that, and real quick, I'll just read the fifth seal and then just kind of call it good for now. But when he had opened the fifth seal, I saw under the altar the souls of them that were slain, and for the word of God, and for the testimony that which they held. And they cried with a loud voice, saying, How long, O Lord, holy and true, dost thou not judge and avenge our blood on them that dwell on the earth? And white robes were given unto them, which represents purity. And it was said unto them that they should rest yet for a little season, until the fellow servants also and their brethren that should be killed as they were should be fulfilled. Now, the scary thing to me is that, everybody talks about pre-trib rapture, but I have a feeling that a lot of these, this is a description of people dying for the cause of, the word of God. And I think that, the season of death is upon us. And I don't want to say that we're here like at this moment. Maybe they just did a test run, but I have a feeling that, a lot of these guys are talking about like 2028 being the end of the age, and we're right on the brink of that. And I'm going to probably interview the guy 2028 End YouTube channel. I hope that he'll get back to me, but we started talking a little bit, so I hope that I can talk to him about that detail about 2028 End. But anyways, I don't want to scare people or fear monger anybody, but I feel like this is important information. And really, my whole focus on this is, I want people to, you know, have the white robes, so to speak. We have to really get our lives right with God, or, find what it is, our purpose in the world, so that we can give back, or even just fulfill the destiny that God has for us. And that's kind of what I'm hoping with this breaking down of this information. None of this is about fear. It's all about trying to understand the symbology and the application on how we live our lives. So I'm going to leave it at that. And sorry if I don't have a little more together, but I'm hoping you guys can bear with me on that. And if you have any questions, leave your comments below, or if you want to elaborate more on something specific, I'll try to put it in the next part 3. And anyways, thanks for listening, guys. Please like this video, subscribe, share it, click on the bell icon, and we'll we'll revisit this on the next video. Anyways, love you guys. I'll talk to you later. All right, bye.